Coming at you live, and it's the first week of December. This is Mikoy welcoming you back to another episode of the TLT podcast. I am joined by the Madhouse to my trigger.
Valkyr 2004, and that's I don't feel those two studios really mesh.
They don't, but you know what? We represent. Last time we covered round 5 recap and round 6 predictions. This time we're going to cover round 6, which covers the top 8. And that has now been reduced to the top 6?
Yeah, I think so.
Top 6. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Top 6. So let's go through, because we only have 4 games to watch. And they actually got through all the predicts without having someone know John for once. Isn't that great?
Yes.
Alright. Sounds refreshing. So now let's go through every single game and every single matchup and see how they actually perform. Because, brother, we got things to talk about. So first off, we have, in order, we had Wesh Papillon defeating Tempo di Anguria. Now remember, this isn't a best of 3 anymore. This is a best of 5. So you may be surprised that Wesh beat Tempo in 3.
Yeah, even if Tempo got unlucky in at least 2 of those.
Well, let's go through the games one by one and see what happened. This is the only, and also while we were reacting live, this is the one that you missed live while I caught this game live. We have...
I was napping.
Huh?
I was napping.
But we caught the other 3 games live, so we'll have much more to say regarding those. But for this one, we had to rewatch it back and see what had happened. So first off was Ubers, where they brought some interesting teams. I like the look of Wesh's. I do like the look of Wesh's. But Tempo's is much more, much more what you see in the common Ubers meta.
Yeah, I think a good word to describe Pap's team here is anti-meta.
It's anti-meta. It's definitely unconventional.
Yeah, but it's specifically anti-meta.
So, first off, the notable moments that had happened was Ting Lu, after managing to set up spikes a lot, tank the Fluttermane's Moonblasts actually, to beat it and to hit KO it safely with Earthquake. But Wo-Chien counteracted by beating the Sub-Ho-Oh via the Terra Water and the Foul Play, which was a very nice sequence of events that had happened. After Koraidon was toxic and lost to Zacian, Eternatus then toxic Wo-Chien despite getting seeded and managed to beat Iron Treads via Fire Blast, while Kyogre managed to kill Arceus Water with Thunder and paralyze the Eternatus with the same Thunder. And after, which would come in crucially into a later moment in this game that definitely cost Tempo the game, because after Tempo's Koraidon died, Eternatus then crit killed Alomomola with Dynamax Cannon, which I don't think mattered.
I don't think that one mattered.
Yeah, which I don't think that mattered. But the one that did matter was turn 46, the turn that came after that, where Kyogre used Origin Pulse and the Eternatus fully paralyzed, leading to Kyogre killing it with Origin Pulse, and then finishing off Zacian after tanking its Wild Charge for the win.
Yeah, now that para cost Tempo the game. Do you understand why?
Why?
Okay, before I explain why, do you at least share the opinion that para cost tempo the game, or do you think it didn't?
I think it definitely didn't help tempo.
No, Miko, it straight up cost him the game.
I know, because if he would have, let's see, if he would have gotten off the whatchamacallit, if he didn't get fully paralysis, he would. What would he do actually? Toxic it.
No, he would attack it.
Oh yeah. Oh, he would attack it with Dynamax Cannon, leaving Zacian to just kill it with Wild Charge.
Yes, Miko, it would have been within Wild Charge range. That's why that para costs tempo the game.
Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense in the long run. But yeah, that para straight up cost tempo. Tempo was playing very well. I will admit, Tempo was playing very well going into this game. Going into this, but it doesn't mean Wesh was playing bad. He was playing decently. Given the proper matchup and the proper sets, they were playing decently, and I had to applaud them for doing so. So next up was OU, where Araquanid was brought. Now, I've been seeing a lot of Araquanid usage, especially in current meta OU.
Yeah, it's been on the rise lately.
But yeah, Araquanid is definitely a good underrated mon to use in OU. It's a bulky one. It can set webs up fairly reliably, tanking those hits well, and it can dish out Mirror Coat to take care of special attackers and do some level of damage with against things like for example, right here in this matchup in particular, you got Samrat Hisui who's weak to it, and Deoxys Speed who's weak to it. And also Liquidation the Iron Moth. And it's also one of the best Great Tusk counters as well. So, take that for what you will. Anyway, onto the game itself. OU started off with Samurott. Here's what I mean by Araquanid doing very well in its role here, being the web setter and a surprisingly good attacker that it is. Samurott tried to use hazards against Wesh with Ceaseless Edge. However, Araquanid chipped it with Leech Life, while Great Tusk managed to crit kill it using Rapid Spin, leading to Pap setting up webs and tanking Great Tusk's Headlong Rush, with Goldengo Terra-Ferrying to beat it with Dazzling Gleam. And I know people are going to say, well, that crit didn't matter. I call it when I see it, okay? So after that, after trading off a bunch of some kills left, right, and center, Iron Moth then crit Oko Deoxys Speed, while Dragonite Oko's it back with Earthquake. And then we saw Iron Moth got killed by Dragonite's Earthquake. Turn 18 is what I have to mention, is that the Headlong Rush crit killed the Goldengo. Which, doing the calc, I don't think mattered at all, did it?
Well, according to the chat, it seemed to matter.
Did it really? Oh yeah, because Tempo did mention that he was 196 defense and bold nature.
What I gotta wonder is if the Iron Moth crit on Deoxys mattered, because, yeah, he hard switched that in. It was gonna take a lot of damage anyway. But did Deoxys Speed? Did it underspeed Iron Moth with webs, or didn't it? It's very fast after all.
It is very fast, but I think because it is my speed.
And that's not max speed Iron Moth, I don't think.
It's not even boosted. It's not even boosted Iron Speed due to booster energy. It's actually boosted special attack.
Yeah, so technically that ain't max speed. So let me see actually.
Also, that crit kill didn't matter because Deoxys is frail.
Oh,
So,
okay, actually, it very well may have been max speed.
so it's 350 Iron Moth.
Apparently, Iron Moth just has naturally much higher special attack.
Okay. And Deoxys,
Okay,
of course.
but let's see. Deoxys speed crit didn't matter.
Okay. So, the hard switch was definitely unfortunate, but yeah. The crit and the kill didn't matter. So, but yeah, ended up with Dragonite dying to the Ice Spinner. Wesh won. It was a short game. Nothing much else to say.
Yeah.
So next up was Are You, where Tempo brought Sun.
And that didn't work out.
Didn't really work out too well, yes, because Wesh, after setting up the hazards nicely, Armarouge O-code the Chestnut with Armor Cannon and tricked Empoleon into gaining Heavy Duty Boots, but got roared out in the process, then died later to the Flygon's Stone Edge a couple of turns later. Then, what was the biggest threat to Tempo on Wesh's team? It was actually the motherfucking Sableye, because it got to Encore Venusaur while to only doing growth during the Sun turns and stalling them out, knocking off the Torkoal's Heat Rock and knock off the Venusaur's Life Orb, which definitely neutered Tempo's damage output a lot more. It also tanked the Terra-Bug Slitherwing's first impression in order to burn it with Will-O-Wisp, which definitely benefited Wesh a lot more in the long run. And with no way of setting up Sun, Tempo was just basically left with a crippled Venusaur and a crippled Slitherwing, as Wesh just defeated it with U-turn, and Slitherwing also died to the U-turn, leaving only the Salamence, which Tempo tried to reverse sweep potentially, but Sableye, being the prankster mon that it is, encored it into only doing Dragon Dance, burning it eventually with Will-O-Wisp, and eventually just crippling it to death.
I understand it was probably unwinnable by that point, but I think Tempo's only out at that point was for Willow to miss, which it did,
Once.
and to just attack, not to lock into D-Dance.
D-Dance, yeah. It's a shame too, because we only saw Dragon Dance from that Salamence, didn't we? Oh no, we saw Dual Wing Bait and Earthquake come into play, but yeah, could have done better for Tempo, and could have gotten a big out like that to eventually kill the Sableye, but Wesh just had more mons to deal with that Salamence, unfortunately. So Wesh was able to stay on top, stay with the advantage, and eventually pick up that win. So very nicely done, Wesh, dominating and proving himself to be the clear favorite going forward, along with the winner of our next matchup, which is Rafna versus Brain, which was actually the last one to be played.
Mm-hmm.
Which actually is kind of funny, because the losers games finished first before the winners bracket over the course, and this one finished the latest at Monday or Sunday if you're in the East. So first off,
it was Sunday for most people, I believe.
For most Eastern viewers, our neck of the woods is the Monday and midnight, but whatever, it's fine. Semantics aside.
Your neck of the woods.
My neck of the woods, aka Asia. Anyway, moving semantics aside, let's talk about the games. First off, we haven't seen this tier in a while. Monotype. Flying versus ice. Normally, this would be a disadvantage. But look at the names who are playing. So, Brain having a hail-centric team against Roughness, Flying Menace. The game started off, of course, with Corviknight managing to chip the Kyurem with Iron Head, and Skarmory's Rocky Helmet chipping the Weavile off while it roosted, letting it die to the rocks later. And then came some of the more crucial points in the matchups where Articuno came into play and hazed off the Belly Drum Titan stats, which benefited Rafna a lot, able to take the Icicle Crashes very well, only to die later to Cloyster's Rock Blast after it hazed off the Shell Smash Sweep. Then, of course, didn't really happen. Nothing really of note happened, significantly at least, until the final few turns, where the Skarmory use Iron Defense to tank the Cloyster's Icicle Spears to kill it with Body Press, and while it did manage to freeze the Tornadus earlier and eventually kill it, Ninetales subsequently died to Corviknight's Iron Head attempts before taking out Sandslash, winning the game for Rafna. Any other thoughts?
Rafna played that very well, but I also feel that Brain did not play very well. I feel like it was clear in this game that he did not have a lot of experience in Monotype.
Oh, definitely. It showed.
Also, I understand why he led with Kyurem, but in hindsight, that should not have been his lead.
What do you think is the better lead? Ninetales to set up the hail?
Probably.
I mean, if it's to boost up the defense for eventual Iron Head or Body Press attempts from said Corviknight or Skarmory, maybe.
But yeah, typically Kyurem is something in this case that you gotta
preserve.
Yeah, that you gotta preserve, and when you get it in safely, it's gonna deal big damage.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta take advantage of your opponent through that.
Definitely, you're right, and yeah, it was pretty clear that the inexperience showed, and Rafna was able to play even with the type disadvantage.
Yeah, he knew exactly what he needed.
Yes. Next up,
in order to win. Yeah.
Next up was doubles, where we saw this kind of team. We saw Slow Rain. You mentioned, Slow Rain offense for Roughness side against Brain's Sinistra, very Trick Room heavy.
Yeah,
very Trick Room heavy, but
slow teams.
Yes, definitely shows the bulkiness and even though it's not typically a fast game, it ended up in 10 turns actually. It was a pretty fast game actually. So there was a few things that had happened. First off, the Porygon set up the Trick Room, and Archaludon, well, actually the first few turns saw the Iron Hands do tank quite the Wood Hammer from Rillaboom, but we saw the Archaludon come in, and it basically became a menace, tanking lots of hits from things like the Raging Bolt's Dragon Pulse, the Sinister Shadow Ball, and even the friggin', just friggin' things that happened. Oh yeah, the Archaludon.
You mean the Dragon Pulses?
Yeah, the Dragon Pulses. In order to kill the Incineroar, yes, it was a crit, but let's be honest, why would an Incineroar tank a Body Press, a fully boosted, a 4
That was doing
4
around
boosted.
150% anyway, Miko. It didn't matter.
Plus 5 actually. Plus 5 boosted body press from Archaludon, please. Yeah. And letting Porygon beat the Sinistcha early with Ice Beam, which in hindsight, he probably should have kept more in the long run, Brain.
Yeah, I think he needed it.
Oh, yeah, because hospitality definitely works. And should have been preserved.
To keep that longer and not keep hitting the Archaludon.
Yeah, because stamina, of course, will come back to bite you in the ass. So
yeah, but also there's a bit of a rule when dealing with Archaludon, especially if it's not a super offensive one, like Rafna's, if it's more defense oriented.
Mm-hmm.
The rule is leave it alone as long as you can afford to.
Yeah, let your mons tank the hits if don't attack it, basically. Don't attack it, just let it sit there and probably just wait.
Let it sit there, mostly not do anything.
Because it's not gonna really hit your mons as much.
It's not gonna hit you too hard. It's not gonna hit you too hard if it's not gonna hit you too hard if it's not boosted up.
Mm-hmm. So, towards the end, Terragrass Diancie tried to make some level of progress. Terragrassing, beating the Pelipper with Diamond Storm, which I know you're pretty happy about. But, you know, the Archaludon then killed it with Ice Beam, while Archaludon basically OHKO'd the King Gambit with Body Press, leaving Rillaboom left to die to the rest. With a body press as well for Rafna to win, and that was that. Good game for Rafna, right? Especially since I thought this was Brain's Lock.
It was Brain's Lock. He just didn't win it.
Oh well. Well, let's go to the game where Brain actually won in OU. We saw Araquanid again. We saw, first off, the Araquanid once again managing to set up webs while Iron Valiant was brought in. And you look at this and thinking, oh, it's Quark boosted attack? And it just got intimidated by Lando, but he's still staying in? And Sword Stanced? Well, he did Ice Punch the Landorus, knowing it would outspeed it. And yeah, OHKO'd it. And we thought early on, when we were doing our live reactions, we thought, this could actually be potentially dangerous. And then it got burned. But Brain still stayed in and managed to knock off and Shadow Sneak the Cinderace, while Cinderace managed to get webs onto Brain's side of the field. No. But of course, Ursaluna, knowing the fact that, you know, Ice Punch is really the most deadly thing it can do to Ursaluna, because it was immune to Shadow Snake. Knockoff would do a fair amount, but Ice Punch clearly did more. Tank that, and then beat it later, which was very nice. And then came some things that had happened, where Komao managed to Thunder Punch Paralysis the Dragapult, and allowed Roaring Moon to basically just come in, set up Dragon Dance, and while Rafna did try to put in some leverage by Terra fighting the Iron Crown and trying to do Terra Blast to it, but yeah, the Iron Crown did try to Terra Blast the Roaring Moon. However, Roaring Moon tanked that and was able to beat it with Acrobatics. I actually beat the Dragapult first with Acrobatics, then Earthquake, the Raging Bolt, and then beat the somehow still in, but eventually did Iron Crown in order to win. So Brain
Ravna choked.
Ravna did choke. You want to explain?
Why did he switch out Dragapult on the Roaring Moon? It's not like he was gonna be able to use that thing later, would he have?
No, I don't think so, no. It was right for the sacking, I guess.
It was right for the sacking. Also, it's also if he switches it out, Brain gets to clearly Dragon Dance for free, and that's what happens.
Yep.
If he stayed in and attacked, well, that wasn't a free Dragon Dance. Instead, perhaps a dead Roaring Moon.
The Dragon Darts, yeah. So it could have been bad. It could have been bad. Had Rafna like foresee that Roaring Moon could have been neutered once it could have been neutered once it tried to set up a free Dragon Dance, and if not, right there for the sacking to let Iron Crown Terra fight safely and beat it eventually with Terra Blast, and finish it off probably with Raging Bolt with Thunderclap. I don't know, but yeah, it could have been neutered. It could have been an easy way out for Rafna, but unfortunately.
Hell, let me see if he would have been able to use that Dragapult for anything.
I really don't think.
Let's see. There's a Golden Go.
There's a Golden Go.
Which has an air balloon, so that's gonna nope.
Lol.
There's an Iron Moth. I don't think he really would have gotten any more use out of that Dragapult, so I'm not really sure why he switched it out.
Oh, also, Brain did not use Terra.
Oh yeah, weird.
Might have helped him. It may have helped him in the long run. Maybe he was saving it for Goldengo or Iron Moth. Maybe. Anyway, if things got dire, that is. Anyway, next up was Yo-Yo, where it was a pretty long game because look at the sets, because look at the teams, look at the teams that were in here. Rafna's team is 100% body odor. I get it. Next up was Yo-Yo, where Rhyperior actually came into play fairly early on, and it tried Terra Ferrying. It was a lot of pivoting at first, but then Rhyperior, interestingly enough, tried to Terra Ferry against the Thundurus on turn 12, tanking that Focus Blast, but only got to hit Rock Blast twice. But yeah, the Rock Blast only hitting twice kind of sucked on Rafna's Rhyperior, letting it eventually dying to the flip turn Keldeo, which happened much later. But hey, Tornadus then killed the Cobalion on turn 27. Keldeo killed the Mandibuzz before tanking 2 bullet punches from Terrasteel Scizor, which easily was a threat to Rafna's team, maybe except Metagross, but that Technician, Choice Band, Terrasteel, Scizor, yeah. But eventually getting killed by the Keldeo.
Wait, crit?
Let's see, which turn was that crit? Turn 39? No, not 39. 40.
Are you imagining it?
40.
Oh,
40.
40. Okay, let me see. The Storm crit. I thought you said the Scizor crit the Tornadus.
No, I said the Tornadus crit the Scizor with Liquid Storm.
Okay.
So yeah, it was nice so that Keldeo can just tank the 2 bullet punches for to kill the Terrasteel Scizor. Bleh. So towards the end, the Metagross, this one you eventually left. Metagross got to survive a crit heat wave from Tornadus before getting killed by Keldeo Surf. And Hydrapple ended up finishing Brain off with Giga Drain for the win. Well, Brain tried to play as much as he can for Ravna, but, you know, Ravna just ended up having the better team, ultimately winning. What more can you say? Now we move on.
I don't think you can say anymore.
Next up, we have the losers bracket. First off, we have Terracotta beating Batty, and I have to concede defeat. I took the L. I underestimated you, Terracotta, but, you know, I can't still forgive you because, you know, Game 1 was not in the order listed. Game 1 was actually Ubers that got played first, and this set the precedent for what had happened for the rest of the series. Game 1, we saw Arceus Fairy got paralyzed early on by the Thunder Wave. However, it managed to net off the first kill by beating the Kyogre with Judgment after it failed to kill Ho-Oh with Surf, and was Brave Birded in return by the Ho-Oh, and then the Arceus followed up with the kill. Turn 20 saw the Fluttermane lose to a crit Shadow Sneak from Giratina Origin, which of course didn't matter. Then which Terra counteracted by Terrafiring the Necrozma Dustmane, to set up the Dragon Dance and defeating it with Photon Geyser, even beating the Terra Flying Ho-Oh. Then comes the crucial moment where Koraidon managed to get in, and despite being poisoned, Outrage O-Code crit it. And that eventually set the tone for the end game. I mean, as Landorus got to kill the Arceus Electric, and Ho-Oh finished off the Koraidon for Terra to win the game.
The crit mattered, by the way. I don't know if it really changed the result of the game, but
yeah, that crit on Gliscor definitely mattered, and
I did the calc. It still did a hell of a lot, but it mattered.
It mattered. It still lived. It would still live without the crit, but the fact
might have taken around 90 or so, but yes.
Yes, the crit was unfortunate, but ultimately Terra did win this game. Next up, it really is backwards because the next game was not PU, it was OU that was played next, where Batty got to set up webs and paralyze the Slowking, allowing Sarah Ledge to come in, beating the Tinglu after being chipped by the Roaring Moon. However, Terra ultimately countered with the Terra Flying Dragonite, beating the Terra Fairy Sarah Ledge with Terra Blast. I guess he was expecting an Outrage baddie from the Dragonite. Maybe that's why he went Terra Fairy?
He might have been expecting a Scale Shot, but same idea.
Same idea, yes. Then defeated Batty's own Dragonite with the Terra Blast again, before Iron Valiant tanked the E-Speed in order to beat it with Spirit Break. Then Great Tusk managed to spin away the webs, and Enamorous ended up cleaning both the Iron Moth and Roaring Moon for Terra to win this short and sweet OU game. Even in Batty's best tier, Terra still finds a way to win.
Yeah. I think OU's fairly easy to play, to be honest.
It's true. Especially now. You think a noob like me would step into the ring and owe you and absolutely tear?
Well, you wouldn't tear, but I think you'd find it playable.
Okay, fair enough. Next up is Yu, where Batty actually got some sort of leverage, where he got to poison the Sinistra with Sludge Bomb. Then managed to.
Boy, this was a doomed matchup, and Terra, that poison didn't help at all.
Yeah, that poison was only the bad omen that Terra was about to be sent, because then Vizendipity was trapped with Magma Storm and Taunt. As Heatran managed to trap and let it stay in, while it tried to just Moonblast after Moonblast after Moonblast before eventually dying to the Magma Storm. Terra tried to counteract that by beating Thundurus with Terra Dragon Hippowdon's Stone Edge. It's a very nice usage of Terra, blocking off that Grass Knot nicely. Then Hoopa just kind of slayed, beating Skarmory, Slowking, and Hippowdon with Hyperspace Fury. And yeah, Batty was just in a really, really good position because all that's left was Sinistra and Ditto, which Batty can easily counteract both in order for him to just win. Any other thoughts?
Nope. Cause I don't think Terra actually had a chance at winning this.
No, he did not, especially with the team he brought. It was pretty weak.
Well, that's why he didn't have a chance at winning this.
He didn't have a chance at all to begin with. It was doomed from the start, as you said. Then the final game was PU, where Hatrim got to paralyze the Frostmoth early via Nuzzle, which kind of doomed Terra first and foremost, because you could easily have cleaned with Frostmoth, honestly.
No, I don't think it was the sweeper type Frostmoth.
Really? Do you think it's the bulky kind of Frostmoth?
Also that was a banded Arcanine. So
Definitely
I don't think the Frostmoth was going to be able to deal with that, especially if it just Terra normals and E-speeds and dead.
Yeah, Frostmoth would. You don't want your Frostmoth staying in against an Arcanine. What are you, stupid? Yeah. Terra counteracted with chipping Bombardier and Florges, tanking its Brave Bird to kill it via recoil. But then was followed up with Scyther Terra stealing and Sneasel missing that triple axle in order to lose to its close combat. Terra's Decidueye then claimed kills on Batty's own Decidueye, Hisui, and Hatrim, but sacked Gastrodon to Rhydon, who was subsequently killed by triple arrows. Now, at the time, we were thinking, yeah, Gastrodon easily is the win con, right? Because Rhydon's weak to it, Arcanine's weak to it, and Scyther just Terra Steel, being weak now to the Earth power from Gastrodon.
After talking to Terra himself, well, he did say that he did almost choke PU, that he should have healed Gastrodon. He had no reason to switch out.
Yeah, which definitely hurt Terra's momentum there. Almost cost him.
Yeah, it made so he needed to take a bit of a roundabout way to win.
And the roundabout way was Scyther getting paralyzed off of Bellybolt's static, allowing Decidueye to do the safe kill with triple arrows, and Bellybolt eventually took Arcanine's hit, paralyzing it, and yeah, it was just Bellybolt wins, lol. against a paralyzed Arcanine. And Terra won!
Yeah.
Terra won with a Belly Bolt in PU. That thing is too menacing.
Just bulky, really.
Yeah, too menacing and bulky for its own good. And then we saw the final game that happened, where the final series, where Excelsior lost to Polo Ariosto. Another lost predict for me.
Heh.
But the game itself didn't go quite as originally I would like, because man, what happened?
Do you mean like to Excel?
Yeah, what happened to Excel during this game?
Well, that's what I'd like to know personally.
So, yeah. First off was doubles, where Polo managed to set up the hazards using Glamora and use Dragonite to beat the Farigiraf with Aerial Ace. Then Chien Pao tanked Rillaboom's U-turn to beat Tornadus with Icicle Crash, netting the advantage there. Chien Pao then Sucker Punched the Goldengo, and Dragonite E-speeded Regidrago, allowing them to tank its Dragon Energy hit, and was E-speeded later to death. And King Gambit defeated Rillaboom, leaving XL with only the Terra Rock Landorus, who managed to kill the Dragonite and the Chien Pao with Rock Slide, but eventually lost to the King Gambit, Terra Ghosting and beating it with Kowtow Cleave, winning Polo the game. Yeah, King Gambit traded off the resist to Rock Slide from Terra Rock Landorus by Terra Ghosting and making itself neutral now, but he still was in a winning position, fair enough, and won.
Actually, one thing I'd like to add for doubles that I just remembered. I just remembered how Axel fake outed the Dragonite.
Who had Inner Focus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't never fake out a Dragonite, especially nowadays. Inner Focus blocks off fake out now. Yeah. LC, where Polo definitely, it was more of both these players' wheelhouse, and definitely Polo came away looking the stronger of the two. Well, we saw the Meanfu continuously doing the high jump kicks on Mudbray, and Elekid managing to crit Stunky twice. It got off the Ice Punch and then critted again with the Volt Switch. Stunky was just having a hard time, but it did do something noble and actually knocked off Volibai's Choice Scarf. Weak armor.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Weak armor, Volibear, Choice Scarf. Leaving it to die to Glamet's Power Gem. Yeah, very interesting set there from Polo. Then came the Terraflying Diglett, where we were both scared of, because this could easily clean XL if he was not careful.
Yeah, I was saying during the game, since we were VCing while watching it, I was saying that Axel could be in serious trouble if that's Terra flying with Terra Blast.
And it definitely showed the Terra flying, and it Terra blasted Fungus to death. But Stunky, who remained alive even despite those crits from Elekid, sucker punched and killed off the Diglett to then lose to Marini's Ice Beam. Then Volibear Terra Electric to beat Elekid with the knockoff after playing and doing the mind games against it with Thunderbolt and Psychic, and then eventually Terra Electric to beat it. Then lost to Mudbray's Earthquake after knocking off its Eviolite. Then dodged the Mean Foo's high jump kick, which it looked very crucial on paper, but when actually doing the calc, and I know they've talked this later, actually after the high jump kick miss happened, it actually didn't matter.
Yeah, because the Marini was just faster than Axel's, Mudbray, so it just would have killed it anyway.
Yeah, it would have just killed it anyway. Marini being faster than the Mudbray, which helped. Then Mudbray gets to kill off Polo's Mudbray before, the Marini just surfs it off to death, winning Polo the game. Polo was proving why he is good and should not be someone to mess with in LC. And finally, we have Yu, where, oh boy, this one was a treat for us. It was definitely a treat. Not to Axel. The poor guy had to contend with a lot of unfortunate happenstance happening to him, especially in terms of matchup. Because look, I said at the beginning of this game that Clodsire was going to be the most dangerous thing. And you didn't believe me at first.
Well, I was, if it's not water absorb Clodsire, then it's not too dangerous, but it is water absorb Clodsire, so yes, it is.
Yeah, being water absorbed, meaning it got to tank the Quaquaval hits, and and it played a massive role. Dare I say, even the MVP of this game, this Clodsire, where it managed to toxic first the Tornadus and the Sandy Shocks, who, funnily enough, tried to be the sweeper for XL's team, Terra Icing, to do chip damage to a lot of these mons, actually, before damaging Zarude and damaging the Quaquaval, but was too crippled and was left to dive to the Heavy Slam Metagross, who in turn got burned by the Tornadus and beaten by the Earth Power Hydrapple. Then Enamorous got to work after Clodsire did its thing. Enamorous Terra Fairy'd and started going to town on pretty much everything left, because Tornadus died to a Draining Kiss, and it and Clodsire was just a menace to Axel. Absolutely chipping through his mons, getting a lot of damage in, pivoting out, and then Enamorous just did the killing and most of the work done, leaving only the Grimmsnarl and the Quaquaval before Axel forfeited. So kudos to Polo for absolutely bringing a kind of a dangerous team, especially against Axel's team.
Well, let me just say, it's true that Polo had the better matchup, arguably, because he had the Clodsire plus Enamorous, but Axel still had something that looked pretty good into Polo's team, so long as he got the turns right.
I am going to suggest it was the Sandy Shocks.
You're right. So, it was not good that it got toxic. If it didn't get toxic, then this would be a very different game, because the Terra Ice Sandy Shocks it's very good into this matchup. Like it. There's not a single thing on Polo's team that walls it. Like, Enamorous is weak to electric and ice. Cloudsire's weak to ground and ice. Metagross is weak to ground. Tornadus is weak to electric and ice. Quaquaval is weak to electric. And Zarude's weak to ice.
Yeah. So, yeah. Sandy Shocks could have been a major threat, but unfortunately, Polo just played that a hell of a lot stronger and knocked out Excel out of TLT contention. Bye, Excel. You had a good run. Though. Alright, let's see who won predicts. I can tell from the laugh, like, you already know. Not you, woman. The viewers know.
Yes. So I think it's pretty clear who won predicts.
I've lost 2. I know I've lost 2. And the 2 we got to predict the same for, we got correct. So what does that leave off?
Well, if you look at the sheet, you'll see what that means.
Pokeart won.
Yeah, but like, look at it.
It's a 4 out of 4 victory.
Yeah, 4 for 4, 100%. I know that's not something to brag much about when it's only 4, but still, no one else got that this week.
Yeah, not me, not the pick. It was only PokeArt 2004 who managed to score 100%. Is that like our first 100% in these predicts?
You mean for this tour?
No, not for this tour, because this is definitely the first time that happened this tour, but I think in general, I think this is the first 4 out of 4. The 100% predicts rate.
Possibly?
I'll have to recheck that. But, yeah. This is a good segue now into round 7, the losers. So shall we predict the 2 matchups?
Yep.
And yes, there are only 2 matchups. Can you believe it? We only get to predict 2, and neither of them happened yet. I was fully expecting them to know, John, quite frankly, but credit to them. They've got a prep. They're building for 5 tiers, for God's sakes.
Yeah, they are.
So, first off, in the round 7 matchup, we're getting into the nitty-gritty here. The top 6, actually, because Wesh and Rafna made it into the winners' finals. Bleh. Now it's time to see who actually moves on to the losers' finals. Am I saying that right? No, losers' finals comes after this.
This is the semifinals.
Yeah, the loser semifinals. Who moves on to the losers semifinals to eventually fight in the losers finals, and you'll see what I mean. First off,
yes, this is the loser semifinals. Next is the losers finals.
Yes. Now let's move on now to the matchups. First off, we have Brain Damage Haver. God damn it! It's Haver. Brain damage.
You said Haver last week.
I did say Haver last. I can't process. Brain Damage Haver versus Terracotta.
Why did you pronounce it that way?
Terracotta. Alright, let's talk about this.
That's actually painful.
Alright, so they are playing Saturday at 1 plus 1 at 8 p.m. And the tiers that they're going to be playing are doubles, PU, Ubers, and you, OU.
Okay.
Yeah, very, very cool little things here. And I'm going to defer actually to Colored Names predicts, because he did give out his predicts. This time in in-depth form, so you can definitely tell this is much better than any of the bullshit we've spewed. So it's actually a little bit more comprehensive, a little bit more individualistic in terms of how they played throughout this whole tour. So he notes that Brain has showed themselves to be competent but flawed. Interesting.
Oh wow.
Interesting.
That is a lovely way of putting it.
Their strongest tier wise is LC Sauce, going 3-0 so far. Yeah, Brain is good. Wow, actually, Brain has went 3-0 in LC. I didn't even count that, but good for him. But that is definitely not his strongest. Brain himself even said
it's
that.
one of his stronger tiers, I think.
Brain himself said that LC isn't one of his strongest. He even noted in the Discord that he said he'd been playing LC like shit. However, credit to him for going 3-0 in this specific tier alone. He went 2-2 in doubles, which he played very well, and yeah. Something he's noticed
Which he played very well?
He still played well, as he noted. He noted as saying he played well, even though it's kind of...
Depends on the game you refer to.
Yeah, I don't know. He notes that Brain's playstyle is suited to quick-paced offense versus offense games, and they has struggled in games that they had to game plan long-term. So basically, he notes that Brain likes to... So
basically, Tara will curb stomp him.
Why are you saying that? Almost immediately, huh?
Because that's what you're insinuating by saying that, in my opinion.
So, okay. They seem to exhaust Terra early and often in dumb places where a double the turn prior or just a good predict could have let you conserve Terra. So, maybe we have noticed this a little bit more, that Brain likes to Terra early onto his games to get some sort of leverage. So, as for Terra, he went 4-1 in Ubers, which is great. The love showing his prowess in the tier, which is true.
Wait, when did he lose in Ubers? Tempo, right?
Oh. Then you would be right. Right? Oh yeah, he did lose. He did lose 2 out to Tempo. Yeah. One of them being Ubers, huh? All right. So
I mean, I would think it's Terra, so why wouldn't he be playing Ubers, right?
Yeah, that's true. He notes that in terms of gameplay, they seem good, and has shown to be quite the slow, methodical player with a safe play style. Terra can sometimes struggle by making good reads, but that's a problem most players in the pool have, which is true. The players should really get into the spirit more, get into the grind more when it comes to predicting good reads. Main problem with them is that they just consistently apply their slow, methodical approach to offense games. Do you agree with that?
Oh. Well, maybe.
It does seem that Terra likes to play the long game more than, say, a very hyper offense, fast paced game like, say, hyper offensive styles would like to exploit and extrapolate. But yeah. So in terms of predicts, though, what do we say? Let's break away from Colored Names predicts, because he's going more in depth into his predicts there. But let's look at our perspectives now, Pokeart. Knowing the tiers now, what would you say? Who is favored?
Terra.
Where? Which tiers?
Ubers. PU. NU probably. I mean, he could probably take OU.
You're thinking he's taking all 5, including doubles?
I think he could, in theory. I know he doesn't play doubles very much. He definitely has a base understanding, which allows him to pilot it all right.
Yes, I 100% agree. I mean, you played them in doubles, right? In your game in this year's TLT.
Yeah.
So, and that should really give you like some much of how he's learned in doubles and how he's actually managing to pilot well in doubles. Well, I agree. Well, I agree with you. So I'm going also with Terracotta. Like, I think proving his proven playstyle and the way that he's been playing his games is much better than I would say Brains. So, yeah, I think his playstyle definitely will help, and if he continues to do as he has done in the past and plays to the absolute ultimatum that he's been provided all this tour, he's definitely got the chance to win.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm going Terra because I think he's generally more favored, and even though he doesn't play doubles, that doesn't mean he doesn't have the good resources.
See your match. See your match for evidence.
No, I just talked to him in general. He has good resources from what I hear.
You being one of them?
No.
I'm kidding. Wow, sick burn on you. Sorry. Yeah, Terra. Terra to win. And what does pick say?
Yes. Oh, the pick is a half or a brain damage.
It's got brain damage. And the other matchup. Definitely, I think this one is a lot closer for people than you might think. It's Polo Ariosto versus Tempo de Anguria. Well. This is definitely gonna be a great series. I think that this will be the 5-game series because we didn't really have 5-game series last week. We only had 3 or 4 games series. This one should be shape up to be a 5-game series. So, yeah, Tempo, great player, going 3-1 in Ubers. They've shown to be great in UU and OU. They haven't exactly locked here, so we don't know exactly what they're playing. So, well, maybe they've scheduled after this video goes up. But, yeah, his only weak tiers seem to be LC and DOU. Probably.
Wait, LC and DOE for Tempo?
Yeah.
The weak tiers?
Yeah, that's what colored name noted.
Well, I suppose that's fair. Tempo has sort of been an LC main in the past, but I agree he's not actually that good at it.
Yeah, I think much better. I think it's proven here in this TLT alone that Tempo is much better at OU and UU, RU even, PU even, but LC,
Tempo's
not so
had
much.
good showings in a number of tiers that are not LC, yes.
Yeah, he's had solid showings there, and they have as colored name noted, a solid dynamic play style, and are able to play aggressive, reactive, and slow, as well as all in between. They also have good long-term game planning and a propensity to manage pieces very well, which is a lot of words to say. However, colored name notes that Tempo's main flaw is they fail to distinguish between how a team should be played in theory and how they need to be played in a matchup. So, which can lead to a wrong situation where they miss a crucial read and playing at the wrong pace for the matchup and lose. Interesting observation.
Jesus.
Harsh, but okay, fair enough.
No, like, how do you even notice some of these things?
Yeah, you'd have to be extremely nitpicky, which is something I would like to do in the future. Meanwhile, Polo Ariosto, as colored name notes, shown to be an amazing player in recent rounds, which I agree. Polo's been showing himself.
In recent rounds, I agree, yeah.
In the first couple of rounds, you gotta understand, Polo has been meh for the most part. He's kind of just been flying by, but in the recent rounds, he's really definitely showing prove himself. Starting in 2 rounds ago, I'd say, or maybe 3, Polo is definitely going on the up and up. Going 5-0 since round 5 in a semi-dominant fashion. I didn't even. Wow. All right. Their main tier is LC, which is understandable. Recent games, Polo said that they showed a great grip on the fundamentals and a flexible playstyle that's able to change depending on game states, matchup, and team. Which I agree. Polo's been bringing quite the unconventional teams lately, and it seems to have worked in his favor.
That's true.
They've also brought creative teams. Yep, I've just noted that. They were able to establish. Once they've established an advantage by playing aggressive and great reads, they shift and play more passive to conserve their winning position. Okay. Again, that's very nitpicky. That's very, very nitpicky, but okay. My main flaw with Polo seems to be that there are some inconsistent game plans where they go a certain route to win, but they ended up switching for a worse route. Whether that's for an unnecessary look or an out. So, is he saying that he has a perfect win con in position, but then he switches it up, going for an even worse position for himself, but still manages to win at that point? Whether that be through hacks?
I mean, I don't feel like this assessment from Colored Name is exactly wrong. I feel like there's been times where I didn't really understand what Polo was going for.
Okay. But there are times where, yes. But there are times that Polo has a straight, clear pathway going forward, and he seems to tread forward with that. But sometimes, yes, there can be times where he kind of flip flops from here and there, and it does the roundabout way of winning things rather than the usual like straightforward go for the win, that kind of thing. So yeah, in terms of predicts though, who is favored?
I think Tempo, personally.
Really? Despite the fact that you've been quite the avid advocate for Polo Ariosto these past couple of rounds.
I think Tempo's more consistent. They're both good, but I think Tempo's more consistent.
I definitely think his playstyle is the more consistent of the two. But I've been really surprised with Polo Ariosto. I've been kind of, I've been starting to see the light. And fully expect Polo Ariosto to carry a good game. This will definitely go to 5 games. But I personally think Polo Ariosto is going to win. Yep, I will fully trust and go on the Polo train for here. I do acknowledge the fact that Tempo is a good player, and it could easily catch Polo in a bad situation. However, Polo Ariosto could surprise us all here with a win over Tempo de Angoria. Could potentially be a loser's bracket favorite, if you will. So, yeah. I'd say go for.
I personally consider Terracotta the loser's bracket favorite, but okay.
Well, he is definitely the strongest player. Out of the 4, I'd say Terracotta, but I think Polo's second to that. Maybe I've loosened up a bit, and I think Polo's above that. Well, Polo's above the other 2, but not under Terra. What did the pick?
The pick agrees with you.
Yes. Polo Ariosto. So, that brings us to the end of this video. Can't you tell I'm tired? Because
I can tell.
Because I've been talking slow this whole time and not really rushing through things. Yeah, I'm tired. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Please like this video, leave a comment, subscribe, click that notification bell so you won't miss a video once it comes out. And I'll see you next time when we talk about winners finals and losers semifinals. Maybe we'll even get a recording of our live reactions during the game. So be on the lookout for that. So, anyway, thank you for watching. This has been McCoy, signing out.
Farewell.